So remember, they're changing my voice. In the last part, I was kind of sad and emotional toward the end, and they're hitting me with technology. I'm actually making this part right away after the last part. I'm here in my car on the property. I'm being filmed. I intend to go back to these neighborhoods that I went to yesterday to film some stuff to show you what it looked like there, so you can kind of picture what went down better. They're going to film me and stuff, so I'll probably drive by, or I might pop out briefly. They messed up the audio on my phone, the microphone or whatever, so it plays back in a way that's bad, right? It sounds all weird, but I'm going to still kind of say some things there to guide you through it or whatever. So here I wanted to read, Job 20. It's a short chapter. Just bear with me. This should be the last part, of the second to the last part. I'll probably put that part before this part. I'll put that part at the end. I haven't made up my mind, but I'll put that there to help you understand what happened here. One could argue I should have used those pictures for the background of the other parts to show you what Morgan Hill looks like, and go to places in San Jose where things took place. But okay, let's just read Job 20. Okay. Then Zophar the Naamathite replied, "My troubled thoughts prompt me to answer because I am greatly disturbed. I hear a rebuke that dishonors me, and my understanding inspires me to reply." So instead of him turning the other cheek or this, that, and the other thing, he felt that his honor was impugned. He's dishonored, and he has to speak because it's an issue about God. And it's being done in a way that affects him, and so on and so forth. And it reminds me of David versus Goliath. Reminds me of Christ and the moneylenders and the Pharisees, John the Baptist, Stephen the martyr rebuking him. So a lot of people think that they shouldn't argue about God or they should keep their mouth shut. They're wrong. They should make sure that they're right. First, remove the log from your own eye. Then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. And again, Horus is an idea. Horus and Jesus are all superimposed on the righteous man, right? When you think of them, you think of some kind of fairy thing because they put in your head that way, right? A lot of the depictions in Egypt were depicted in a way that weren't doing the idea justice. And all the Jesus depictions I've ever seen nowhere near do me justice. The idea of both are superimposed on. Okay. So surely you know how it has been from of old, ever since mankind was placed on the earth. So this reminds me of Proverbs 22:28. Do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. So it says, don't remove that ancient boundary stone that God put there. Okay, the Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. David and Goliath, right? Look for the top martial arts ever, the true king. The reason why a king wears a sword. They're trying to be like me, but they're playing a game or something. So that's how it has been from of old, ever since mankind was placed on earth. Another translation says, or Adam was placed on earth. That the mirth of the wicked is brief, the joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Though the pride of the godless person reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? Like a dream he flies away, no more to be found, banished like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will not see him again. His place will look on him no more. His children must make amends to the poor. His own hands must give back his wealth. Now keep in mind that Zophar isn't seen as the wisest person ever, but he is wise. He's one of Job's friends for a reason. Okay? They're right about this. Job at some point says, well, who doesn't know these things? So it's not as simple as they're arguing with Job, so they must be magically wrong. No, they're right about some things. What they're wrong about is that they assume that Job has sinned. So he's right that the children of the wicked must make amends to the poor, and they must give back their wealth. Now, if there's only the offspring of the wicked remaining, like when my flesh dies, I know you people don't want to hear this a lot of times, but it's the truth, then there's no way for them to make amends. And Amen is even an Egyptian deity, okay? And there's a reason why they say the ibis bird is smart in Job, and the ibis bird is the bird, one of the two main creatures used for thought, okay, a deity of wisdom and science and so on and so forth in Egypt. Okay, thought, thoth, there's different ways that people say it. Okay. So his children must make amends. So how do you make amends to me? to me and my children. Well, I'm not going to have any children. Well, who are you going to make amends to? You cheated me out of my rightful place. You all were too afraid to obey God. You can't make amends. That's why you're sealed in hell after I die. The youthful vigor that fills his bones will lie with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth and he hides it under his tongue, though he cannot bear to let it go and lets it linger in his mouth, yet his food will turn sour in his stomach. It will become the venom of serpents within him. Now let's stop right here for a second. The food, right? The fruit of his ways. Believe it or not, when you choose a way, you're eating the fruit. Why? Because it's part of a spirit that is directing you on that path. And the fruit of the spirits is part of what sustains you as you go on that path. For example, if you're a serial rapist and a serial killer, that killing and raping for that evil person is something that he believes is worthwhile. It's the fruit of going down that path. So it's saying the fruit or the food that this person who's evil consumes, okay, all who are evil consume, will turn sour in their stomach. It's figurative. It will become like the venom of serpents within them. It's like the cloud that Christ comes back on is figurative. I go over that many, many times in my videos. He will spit out the riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck the poison of serpents. The fangs of an adder will kill him. He will not enjoy the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. What he toiled for, he must give back uneaten. He will not enjoy the profit of his trading. So what? This can be of his trading. So again, they talk about merchants and traders in Revelation, right? Babylon, this place is known for these followers of Baal, who's a deity of merchants. They talk about merchants and the ships full of goods from all over the world. They talk about the land of milk and honey in Exodus or something, where the Jews leave Egypt and they're looking for a land flowing with milk and honey. And it's in the spiritual realm, okay? And, those people who have ill-gotten gains that they didn't give up can't make it there. They have no valid redeemer after my flesh dies. So people won't be able to go to Jerusalem in the sky, the land of flowing with milk and honey, heaven with God, what have you. For he has oppressed the poor and left them destitute. He has seized houses he did not build. How much more they who have cheated me out of my right to lead? Attractive women who have rejected me to date scum, who lead the children astray. It's better for a millstone to be put over their neck and for them to be thrown in the sea than for them to reject me for someone who's cheating me out of my right to lead, or anyone else for that matter, okay, because I'm the Messiah. Because then they're leading the children astray by making it seem like that's what little girls should grow up to do. That's what little boys should do in order to get the attractive female, that they should be some kind of worm, what have you. Now let's go to Proverbs 1:30, and let's talk more about those fruits there. Since they will not accept my advice and spurn my rebuke, they will eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with the fruit of their schemes. For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency or smugness of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear of harm. The Hebrew for simple in Proverbs denotes a person who is gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil. Okay, so if you don't obey God through me, you don't have moral direction. If you reject me, say you live in Morgan Hill or San Jose or Santa Cruz or wherever, and you're an attractive female, and I approach you, and you reject me. Why? Because the world, and it's the spirit of the world, has told you to not date a persecuted or targeted person, right? And you were gullible enough to believe them. And you were inclined to evil enough to follow your instinct. Okay? And you were gullible enough to believe that they're not hacking your brain and that you should trust your instincts. There's all kinds of reasons why the simple will perish. And again, they are gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil. You could be the person with the most PhDs on the planet. If you're gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil, you're simple and shallow and you're a fool. Also, the Hebrew words rendered fool in Proverbs and elsewhere in the Old Testament denotes a person who is morally deficient. They're morally deficient. Obviously, a fool is simple, so they're also gullible, without moral direction, and inclined to evil. So they're not moral enough, they're naive, they're gullible, they're without moral direction, and inclined to evil. It's not enough to have faith. Faith without moral direction and being in the divine order and bearing the fruit of God is empty. Proverbs 12:1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. So if you hate being corrected by the top martial arts ever because you're the president or you're, you're a CEO or anyone, you're another martial artist, or, you have the most PhDs, then you're stupid. You're not smart. You could have 100 PhDs, but if you don't obey God through me, you're stupid. You're simple, you're gullible, without moral direction, you're shallow, you're inclined to evil, you're morally deficient. Okay, so that goes back to, Job 20, verse 14 and through 19, right? Yet his food will turn sour in his stomach. It will become the venom of serpents within him, right? He'll be filled with the fruit of his schemes, okay? He will spit out the riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck the poison of serpents. The fangs of an adder will kill him, right? The ancient serpent, the devil, fooled him into being wicked, and he's going to hell. And when you think about it, there's a reason why there's these patterns in nature. What is poison? Why is it there? What's a snake? Why is it there? Why does it go into holes? What are the implications on sexual behavior? Why is it so vindictive when you step on it, it bites you? Why is it so hateful and evil? Why does it have an evil way about it? What's the difference between making love or using psychology to pretend you're good, like some kind of, Power Ranger or some kind of, person in church? They're not actually good. They're using a thin veil of psychology over their evil desire to cheat me out of my right to lead and to pretend they represent God. He will not enjoy the streams, the rivers flowing with honey and cream. What he toiled for, he must give back uneaten. He will not enjoy the profits of his trading. For he has oppressed the poor and left them destitute. He has seized houses he did not build. Surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself by his treasure. Nothing is left for him to devour. His prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of misery will come upon him. When he has filled his belly, God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down his bows on him. Right? Ebo, the name of my tribe. I bow. I am the bow. I am the arrow. I am the sword. I am the Son of God. I am the gate. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierces him. Though he says, okay, well, screen this guy out then. My spirit will pierce him. Though he says, well, what if I go to church? Not good enough. You ran away from a bear into the mouth of a lion. He pulls it out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver. Terrors will come over him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house. Rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate God allots for the wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God. For those of you who still don't understand why I'm right about the top martial arts order. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to pause it, try to think of the answer, and then I'm going to give you the answer when you unpause it. Right. So, why is it a martial art order, a Royal African Falcon martial art order? I'll give you this hint. Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. Okay. When the Jews carry on and on about how the Jews are chosen and they don't think that the Africans are. 2, we see that they're speaking figuratively here. So they talk about the iron weapon, figurative. A bronze-tipped arrow, figurative. God, vending his burning anger against him and rains down his bows on him, figurative. So why, when they're clearly using weapons in a figurative manner, is it a martial art order? And why a martial art order, outdoor sparring, hand-to-hand combat with a spirit instead of armor and technology, instead of technology in the military? So pause it and I'll give you the answer. Okay, so hopefully you paused it. The answer is because of the principles. Okay? All victories in principle, you know them by their works, their fruits, okay, their deeds, their principle-based deeds. And you need to apply insight and wisdom and careful examination. Write things down, get your thoughts together, discuss it with people if it's wise to. You need to figure it out. Figure, mind, body, soul, and spirit. Figure it out. It is the principles that the martial artist cultivates that go beyond other people. Police officers don't cultivate them to the same degree. Okay, worldly martial arts, American Taekwondo, right, Thai boxing, These people are friendly people at times. They're nice people at times, but they're not cultivating those principles. They're living by the wordplay, right? They're reinforcing the system of meal being a play on words for melee, food being a play on words for faux do. Remember, in the Bible, Esau chose a meal over his inheritance. And that's why I went to Jacob. He chose the sex, is what it's getting at, in a roundabout manner, right? Why the meal? It actually is superimposed on him choosing sex, and it's in the wordplay. Grub, G-rub, right? To rub someone in a sexual manner. So the meal, melee, food, faux do, grub, G-rub. And there's other wordplay there I can't think of at this moment. But there's other words that piss you off that have to do with that. Okay? You know, whether or not you reinforce the social order is a huge part of whether or not you get a job. And they're looking for certain cultural indicators. And it's despicable. Why should you breed the enemies of God? Why should you shun the Messiah? You shouldn't. Now, who has the heart to stand firm? When God says, pick up your cross and follow me, if they say it to the baker, he's like, I'm scared. They say it to the police, they say, well, I don't quite believe that. I'm going to uphold the law. Okay, they say it to the military, they say, we got a job to do. We know how you feel. They say it to a politician, on and on and on. They don't know. But if you say it to a Royal African Falcon, deeper than Martin Luther King, top martial artist who goes far beyond other people in spiritual power and spiritual depth, he's going to finish the job. When it's time to choose who you want to lead humanity, the most righteous and the most stigmatized by the enemies of God, the top martial artist ever possible, is your only logical choice. Psalm 2. Why do the nations plot in vain when God has detected his choice? And it's the Psalm of David who faced Goliath. David, Day-vi-D, is superimposed on the top martial artist, the true champion of God. See Ham, champion. Abraham, before Abraham I am. Ham begot Cush, Cush begot Nimrod. Nimrod was a mighty warrior, a mighty hunter before the Lord. Going back to the food, the works, the hunter. Going back to Cain and Abel when they made their offerings to God. By now you should know that I'm right. The principles point to me. The fruit points to me. The fruit of the schemes of the cult of the flesh point elsewhere. Thank you.